Welcome to the Stay Paid Podcast, where we help agents and entrepreneurs master the latest business trends to unlock growth and create a life of freedom. Brought to you by Reminder Media.
Welcome, Stay Paid listeners. We have an amazing guest for you today. But before we get into that, we'd love if you take a minute to subscribe to Stay Paid on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Go check out Reminder Media on YouTube. We'd love to earn your like, and we think we will. We know we will. Yes. With today's return
I like your
guest,
confidence today, Josh.
Returning to the podcast. Well, it's because of our guest today, Jason Pantana. Jason is a coach, trainer, and speaker for Tom Ferry, as well as the host of the popular seminar Marketing Edge. His dynamic sessions arm professionals with the tools they need to stay current, competitive, and above all, successful. His areas of expertise include social media, digital marketing, and most recently, and what we're going to get into today, using AI in your business. Jason, welcome back to Stay Paid.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be back with you guys today. I love this podcast.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Anybody who's a longtime listener of the podcast maybe has heard your past episode, but they have heard me reference you many, many times. I see you as one of the thought leaders that I look up to in marketing. You
Every
absolutely
webinar
crush it
too.
I reference Jason all the time. I try to encourage people to follow you. I think you put out gold. So you, Jimmy Mackin, Jimmy Burgess, you guys are three of my main guys that I'm pumping out there as much as possible. But I wanted to have you back on because you're also not only a master in marketing, but you have really gone deep on the AI side. Yeah. And, you know, it is transforming the world as we speak. We're implementing it in our business in a multitude of different ways. But I want to dive right in for the small business owner, specifically the real estate agents that are listening to this. Where would you say are the three main tools you would go to start? And I know it's a big question to try to start implementing AI in your real estate business.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is we are at the dawn of AI. This is just getting started. This is the biggest technological shift any of us have ever lived through, period. Seth Godin made a comment that I echo. I'm like an echo chamber for Seth Godin on this. AI is the biggest shift in society since electricity. It's even bigger than the internet. And so when you think about, wow, that's a really, really big, bold statement. I mean, think about how life would have changed when electricity started to roll out. That's how life's changing with AI. Now, a lot of people hold different feelings toward AI. A lot of people have, memories of Skynet and Terminator and Matrix and all these situations.
I heard a fact that when Skynet takes over in the end of the world, it's like 2029, just FYI in that movie. So weird coincidence.
We're on path. So for one, sci-fi is on the right timeline. We didn't end the flying cars in 2015 like Marty McFly.
Exactly.
We would, but hey, we're on the path. So I think a lot of people have different feelings about AI. And my encouragement would be, it's technology, it's a tool. In the right hands, it can be used for great purposes. In the wrong hands, it's like any other technology, it can be used for nefarious purposes. The best thing you can do is to lean into the opportunity. The biggest obstacle in your way is your reluctance to take advantage of the tools around you. I was reading on X, and I saw this comment made from the CEO of Shopify. It was an internal memo that got leaked that he sent to all of his heads of department. And he told the heads of department at Shopify, you are not allowed to hire anybody on your teams until you can prove AI can't do their job for them.
Wow.
And then everybody's like freaking out. But if you read his logic was pretty darn on point because he said, hey, we're moving into a new era of economy that we can't possibly fathom, where somebody could have an idea in the evening and by morning they could be at scale, operationalized with the power of AI. So the idea of not being lean, not being mean, not being opportunistic to the technology is to potentially put yourself at risk. I think the greatest competitive threat to agents in the future is the agent who is powered by AI versus the agent who is not powered by AI. So I want to begin by saying you should take into inventory your feelings about AI and see it as a tool that needs to be leveraged. It's also not a tool that's, go ahead.
Sorry to cut in there, but it's a real world example of we're building out some IDX pages for our clients, right? So everybody knows of IDX pages. So my brother Dan does a lot of our marketing and stuff like that. He literally took Anthropic, which is what our software developers are using, threw in Zillow to Anthropic and said, hey, I want to build an IDX page like Zillow. Then he saw some of the features off of Redfin that they did better than Zillow did. And I am telling you guys, no joke, you'll see it soon. In 2 days, he built a literal Zillow platform IDX page that would have taken so much longer already to go. And he's tweaking it with the best. Like you can look at what Redfin's, Zillow's, luxury presence, all the ones and go, which feature do I like the best here? Hey, add this feature to my extra IDX and it's in real world time. I don't know how you compete in a world like that without getting on AI. It's insane.
So it's interesting. So Anthropic, Claude, I use their AI a lot. It's one of the more popular dominant large language models, but Claude is especially skilled at code. My brothers are also developers. They're using, I mean, they've turned themselves into an army of code versus just a solo coder, so to speak, because the scale is ridiculous. I'm not a coder. I know my way around tech, but I've been using Claude to code different scripts and different functions on websites and to be able to accomplish tasks that I thought I had to hire out and didn't even know was possible. I mean, this idea of having to wait for things to be done right now, I'm getting ahead of myself in terms of talking about Claude because that's one of the more sophisticated applications that I'm seeing folks utilize right now for AI. But it is, so we're in a moment of game change. This is a game changer. And in terms of tech to leverage, this is a point of focus. So I lead an academy called AI Marketing Academy. And it's every month we're putting in trainings and we're exploring what are the tools and how can they actually be applied in your marketing mix. So it's this marketing AI combo where you're not just talking about AI because it's so neat and exciting, but you're talking about it through the lens of taking action to put it into motion in your business to scale your marketing. And we talk about AI through this lens from the very get-go. When you think about what AI does, generative AI produces outputs. Who's the input? You are. It's your idea. It's just like your brother. It was his idea. What about this, and combine it? He was blending and collaborating with AI, not to sound too geeky, but almost the same way Tony Stark would collaborate with Jarvis or whatever the AI is called. Yep. It's the same kind of collaborative experience to produce what? To produce an output. When you look across the different landscape of tools and AIs that exist today, you're the input. The outputs typically come in the form of words, images, sounds, and video. Words, images, sound, and video. That provides for you sort of a table of contents of, okay, my tech stack for AI should consist of tools that can produce outputs that have marketing value to me that are words, images, sounds, and video. And so that's sort of the lattice board that I hang the different tools on and organize people's understanding of, oh, I need a tool that can help. I've seen some AI tools that can clone my voice for doing video voiceovers, 11 Labs. I need some tools that can help me edit videos and streamline that way faster. CapCut, Descript, Runway ML, there's lots of tools. And I'm not trying to intimidate with information anybody who's maybe new to AI, but I do think it's useful to have sort of a construct for, okay, how do I organize my toolbox of AI tools? And it's words, images, sounds, and video. So going back to your earlier question, what are maybe three of the biggest, you said tools, I would have in my tech stack? Out of the gate, you need to pick your preferred large language model. Now, a lot of this might sound like gibberish terminology to you. I can give some backstory and explanation of what large language models are, but just to keep it simple, ChatGPT is a large language model. Gemini is a large language model. Claude is a large language model. Grok is a large language model. Perplexity is kind of a large language model, more of a search engine, but it goes on, that's the list that goes on. And these large language models, they're a massive paradigm shift because when most people think about AI, they're thinking about ChatGPT. That's mostly what they're thinking about because it became, I'm sure you guys would agree, like when that came out as a consumer-facing product, we all flipped out. That's when society was like, oh my gosh. And go back to, I don't know, when was Google created? Mid-90s? Was that about right? Yeah. Mid-90s? Think about the power of the search bar. When Google created, and I don't know if actually Yahoo might have beat them. I don't know who did it first. But think about the power of the search bar. That became the defining hallmark of how we interface with the internet, period. Oh, yeah. Search bars. And now you're going to move into a society where it's going to evolve to the message box. The message box is the new search bar, and it's going to be in every tool we use everywhere. Even Canva dropped their release yesterday for all their new AI tools. Guess what? I was going to ask you about
Canva code if you have used it at all.
I haven't tinkered their code yet because I just got access yesterday. I haven't had a chance to tinker with it. I am excited to use it. What did you think of it?
No, I just saw their announcement. I haven't either. We literally had our real estate meeting for Acre Brothers Realty earlier this morning, and I mentioned it to my brother Dan, saying, hey, man, we need to look into Canva's code and then also for designing of our postcards and our direct mail, because we're already using Midjourney to do a bunch of imagery, designing specifically for our Facebook ads. Like one hack that we have found on Facebook ads, this came out of convenience because real estate agents will not get you their info. So whether it's a list or the picture of the listing, so we use Midjourney to create images of houses that, and at first it wasn't as realistic. Now, dude, I mean, it is scary realistic, and we use those for, list of home based ads on Facebook.
Oh, and now you've got the 4.0 image generation is now API accessible through OpenAI. So you just, once again, words, images, sounds, video. So to me, it's a matter of just getting started with AI. Okay, what's going to help you write and brainstorm? I would probably start with ChatGPT. What's going to be your tool for image creation, image editing? My pick's probably Canva. They have the most features when it comes to AI across working with images. Adobe's got some great stuff too. What are the tools you're using for video? CapCut's a huge one. Descript is a huge one.
I use like captions a bit. Yeah,
yeah,
I use captions. That's what, but I'm just getting started really with it, and it has worked. Can we dumb this down a little bit? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, we really dove in deep today.
Yeah, no, I love it, dude. I mean, this is like excites me because I see this as like essential. Like, pay attention. You have to get this into your business. But let's think about like a real world scenario.
Yeah.
Which I think social media is a real world scenario that every agent, is asking, how do I do content on social media? How do I post? What should I be posting? If we were breaking down like social media, Acre Brothers, like Steven, this week, you guys want to post, you want to record videos.
Yeah.
How do you think about, can you walk through, you doing your social media and maybe some of the tools you are using, like captions, stuff like that, and how it actually works for you?
Yeah. And I think, so first thing I would say is, most of the main tools or players out there, the platforms that are producing AI functionality for their video editing suites and stuff, they're all going to be competing for the same functions. And so CapCut may put out a really cool function, and then a month later, Descript has it. Then Veed has it. So you're going to start to find that they all do the same tasks. And so I use the analogy pretty often. Imagine you walk into Home Depot and you go to the tool section and you see, oh, those are hammers, those are wrenches, those are screwdrivers, and there's different brands, but they all do the same thing. And this is going to be the same sort of idea. In terms of where I believe the biggest opportunities are for video, just streamlining video and social media, certainly using a ChatGPT or your favorite, whether it's Gemini, ChatGPT, or whatever, can massively help you with the writing and the brainstorming. I talk to agents all the time. I'm on the road speaking. How are you currently using AI? The average agent is using ChatGPT to brainstorm ideas. What are 10 videos I can make on social media? I would shift them to say you might want to check out Grok. And the reason for shifting to Grok on that front is Grok is the only large language model. They're owned by XAI. It's the only one that has access to a real-time social media feed. And so if you want to keep your finger on the pulse of what's trending and what are people talking about and what are some buzzing, circulating subjects, so that your content can be fresh, I would go to Grok and say, hey, what are people tweeting about related to real estate in the Nashville, Tennessee, the Lynchburg, Virginia area, whatever it is, in the last 30 days that I could create content around and maybe answer questions or speak to issues. And then let it tell you what's actually buzzing for content creation. Whether you continue using Grok or ChatGPT, again, pick your favorite. I mean, they have certain points where they each excel differently. I use lots of tools. You don't have to, but you can have it help you write the video script. If you'd rather read a teleprompter, write the social media caption. Hey, can you modify the caption or contextualize it so it's better for Facebook and then TikTok and then LinkedIn, and then make it slightly different in all those applications so that it's more conforming to the culture of those platforms and the rules and limitations of those platforms. And that's work that you would have had to have hired somebody to do or do yourself already, that AI just did in about 30 seconds for you.
Yeah.
Or maybe you weren't doing it because it was too time consuming. Then
you start getting you think about prompting though, just in like that example, because I don't know if that's where you were going to go. Exactly. It's like,
because prompting's the most powerful, part.
Prompting is modern code. So it's funny, like inside of AI Marketing Academy, I learned this when we launched the program. AI Marketing Academy is video trainings where I walk you through, either we have recorded trainings, we have live Zooms where I'm walking through and helping folks integrate specific marketing strategies that require the use of AI into their business. But I feed them all my prompts along the way. And I've realized that's what people care the most about right now. They want to see how I'm crafting prompts, because it's interesting. I think the first thing you have to do is define what a prompt is. A prompt is simply a written instruction to the AI to perform a set task. The task could be answering a question. The task could be writing something, brainstorming something. But it reminds me of the old Tim Ferriss quote that life rewards the specific ask and punishes the vague request. And so when you lack specificity in your prompts, it's going to show up because the AI has its own defaults. You could call it its own personality. And so if you've ever seen somebody write something, you're like, AI totally wrote that. It's obvious. It sounds like AI. Elevate your game-changing revolution, blah, blah. It just sounds like AI. that is usually a lack of clear prompting. If it sounds like AI and not you, you didn't prompt it sufficiently well. And so my first thought to prompting is, it's one thing to have a conversation with AI. If you're asking it a question or you're brainstorming something or just having a conversation with it, don't get lost in the mechanics of prompting. It's conversational, just talk to it. But if you're using a tool like ChatGPT to perform a specific marketing task for you, at that point, your instruction needs to be a clear command. It needs to be a clear instruction that says what you wanted to do. I'll give you a pro tip. This is how I write my prompts. My prompts are generally reserved for tasks I'm going to do on repeat. I'm going to make a post on a recurring basis. I'm going to send an email on a recurring basis. And so it's worth the effort of really thinking through, how can I write this prompt in a way that I can rinse and repeat it for this recurring marketing task? So I put more focus on that. It always begins with a conversation with ChatGPT. I like to use their voice mode where I'm having I think better out loud. As you can tell, I gab a lot. And so I just talk to it. Hey, I have this idea. I'm thinking about doing this. And what about this and this and this? And I just talk to it and it gives me feedback. And then I sort of sculpt what I believe needs to be included in the prompt. I'm like, hey, if I ask you to do something like this, where might be some areas that you would operate on your own conclusions versus my instructions? And then it will show me those things. And so I just take the time to fashion the prompt. And then we get to the clear instructions of the prompt. If it's writing, how do I want it to be? What is it writing like? Sometimes if I'm doing like video scripts, I'll feed it a sample of my own writings. So I'll just go to rev.com. I'll get a bunch of transcripts from past videos. And I'll say, I'll do it one of two ways. I'll either say, always refer to this document and analyze it so that you can learn to write and sound like me. So it sounds like this author in the writing style. Or I'll just say, hey, what would be a way to describe this writing style that I could just use every time I tell you to write that would cause you to write like this? And then I get the hard-coded language for that every time versus sending it to the samples every time. And so I think of a sculpture, like you just sculpt it down until you get the prompt. This may sound technical. All the prompts that I write for my users and members inside of AI Marketing Academy are always written in what's called Markdown. Markdown is a pseudo type of code. If you've ever seen like a paragraph that has like hashtags and ampersands and asterisks and weird little characters in front of it, it's Markdown. And what Markdown does is, think about this. If you copy and paste bold or italicized text into ChatGPT, it will all come in as plain text. It will not preserve formatting. And so your prompt may be structured where there's a heading, there's a main point, there's a sub point, and you want that to be reflected in the way you put the prompt in there. If you write a Markdown, all those characters tell the AI, this is a main point, this is a secondary point, this is a tertiary point.
Oh, interesting.
And so at the very end of my conversation with ChatGPT, I say, okay, now write that prompt in Markdown. And then it puts it in Markdown for me. Now I've got a set prompt that I can use on repeat going forward.
That's
or
sick.
Sometimes,
if
a lot of these.
If I'm right, if you copy like the little copy button underneath the message for ChatGPT, then you paste that into like a plain text, it'll also it'll show you the Markdown as well.
It will show you the Markdown. I have it actually write in the Markdown for me. So it does it as a pre-formatted text.
That's smart.
That way, because then I put that pre-formatted text with all the Markdown characters in it inside of AI Marketing Academy. So my students just go click, it copies it, and then they just drop it into their large language model seamlessly. So they can, so like some of the tasks we're focused on in January, we started in January. The main focus of January was using Claude artifacts, which, speak of your brother, he's been using Claude. So Claude has this amazing technology called an artifact where it can literally turn you into a full-blown web developer. If you think about what is a computer programmer? Well, if I was going to give a simple definition to a computer programmer, is a person who knows how to tell a machine what to do in the language of that machine. That language may be Java, JavaScript, Python, whatever it is. No coder, I don't think, speaks all the languages of a machine. They know some, I know none, but AI knows all. And so if you think about the value proposition of, so I can speak in my everyday human language and tell AI what I want the machine to do, and then it can translate that information into code for me. Yes, it can. So some of the applications we've been using are, for example, you can have Claude create these beautiful, dynamic, interactive charts and graphs and reports. And so we create seller reports where it's branded to you, it's your fonts, your colors.
Yeah, it's super smart.
Yeah, so you send your seller like, here's the activity on your listing this week. We know days on market's been up. So you send a seller a weekly report. It's branded, it's beautiful. They can click drop downs and all kinds of stuff. And all you did is take a spreadsheet that has your numbers in it for your listing, dropped it into the Claude, and then gave it a prompt that tells it what to code. And then it gives you a literal file that you can send over to your clients, and they can use that file. You can text it to them, email it to them. It's an actual web page that they can go to where they can click and drop down and mess with it, and it makes you look smart. We've been utilizing it for creating reports like that for when you go on listing appointments where you're competing against other agents. It's comparison of agent to agent performance, and then how's the market activity. It's a whole new way to demonstrate comps and to talk about the market, where it's interactive, branded, and beautiful to you in front of your client at an appointment.
It's very personalized.
Yeah.
Are you teaching? This is what you're teaching.
This is inside Academy of AI. That was just January. So yeah.
Where seriously, where would I go to see that? Because I'm thinking, Stephen, we should sign up for that.
Well, so if you go to, the website is aimarketingacademy.ai. Go to aimarketingacademy.ai. And then there's a whole bunch of landing page stuff. You can read it or just click join now. And it's either a monthly or annual membership. If they do monthly.
How much is it? Yeah, monthly.
Yeah. So monthly is you save if you do the annual, of course. Monthly is $199 a month. However, I was talking to you guys earlier. I'd love to offer your listenership and viewership half off. And it's not half off the first month.
Yeah, we should definitely sign up for that, Stephen.
It's half off forever. So as long as you're a member, if you use the code I'm going to give you, if you click join now and you get to the checkout screen, just put the code WEB50, 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 and it will take 50% off your membership, not just the first month or second month, but for every month for as long as you retain your membership. And what's also interesting, you don't ever lose content. So if you join today, you get January, February, March, April. It's just, if you're in, you're in. And that's the way it goes. And if you're done, there's no contracts. It's easy. So just AI marketing.
I think of it's a no-brainer because I think of for us, it's like, what's an hour of your time worth? And it's like, it's more than $100 and it's going to save you easily an hour. It's
save massive time, help you scale.
The idea of the personalized reports, that is gold. Mm-hmm. Like that is like that. What scares me. So we're in the marketing business, as you know, right? Reminder Media. We do marketing, emails, print, all that stuff for people. And I go, my gosh, man, where it's headed. You go to keep up from a digital marketing standpoint. Do you think all digital marketing is going to go to a commodity? And what I mean by that is essentially print. As print became more and more popular, your margins on print is historically very low, right? So unless you find a niche in print, which we have kind of done, it's a historically low margin business because many people can do it. And, there's always a race to the bottom. And so with digital marketing, it's like email. Like, I don't believe we're very far off from these, AIs basically doing email newsletters.
Oh, that was my next point.
Dude,
I actually use Claude to do that.
Yeah, there you go. Better for you than, the MailChimp's, Constant Contacts of the world, the Reminder Medias of the world. So it's not because we can't use it, but I think the only thing that saves us is human adoption. Humans will be so slow to adopt that you'll be able to ride it out for a while and adjust, hopefully. But
so here's a couple of thoughts, and I'll answer the commodity question in a second, or I'll give my opinion on that. First, I was teaching yesterday. I was doing a lab for AI Marketing Academy members, and we were talking about. I made this assertion. There's a whole new marketing channel. Think about marketing channels. Email is a marketing channel. It's a way to access an audience. Direct mail is a marketing channel. SEO, marketing channel. These are social media, marketing channel. There's a new one, and it's called answer engine optimization because more and more consumers are using AI to ask their questions. It isn't SEO, it's AEO, answer engine optimization. And so how do you get your business to be the recommended result? And what can you do to scale to be the cited source who answers the question somebody's asking in ChatGPT? That was our focus in the month of April. Huge topic. And somebody was saying, okay, it's really exciting that ChatGPT has over 5 billion monthly visitors across mobile and desktop. Google has 23 times that. That was which we made that point. Google has 23 times that. It's true, they do. But the thought I would share with you is, one, there's an erosion of their search versus ChatGPT. More people are going to ChatGPT. There's a trend, it's moving upward. Two, Google, inside of their labs, is testing their new AI mode. which if you haven't looked at it, it's effectively going to turn the front page of Google at some point, unknown to us when they'll do it. It's currently being tested into an AI experience. And so this idea of when does AI commoditize everything? I wouldn't think about it as old ways versus new ways. Everybody, every platform, every tool is going to retrofit itself to be ready for an AI world. Google's going to turn into AI. Everything will turn into AI because that's going to be the evolution of the technology. And so this idea that things become suddenly commodities, or like MailChimp goes away. I don't know that they might, but I don't know that I think email service providers go away versus I think they find a way to adopt AI to enhance themselves. I see AI as not a disruptive threat per se, but as an enhancement agent to help existing technologies scale themselves better as long as they don't ignore it. I know that's kind of a heady way of saying it.
I see it similarly. I mean, the only thing that for me, like if you play out the future, it's like, well, what limits a Google or, an X from just doing everything? Like what limits Facebook from just doing all your ads for you and you don't need a reminder media to run your Facebook ads in essence, right? We're built on top of Facebook. We're using Facebook.
Well, I mean, CapCut came out yesterday. I saw CapCut release their new feature where you can, and this other tools have had this technology, they just didn't do it very well. So I'll see how well CapCut does it, but instead of creating a video ad, you just give it your website and it goes off and scrapes all the content images and styles off your website and creates ads for your products for social in real time. Nobody made anything. And so I think you're going to certainly see efficiency gains that take cumbersome, tedious tasks like that and scale them. Already we're seeing Meta Ads is dropping in additional AI features, new creative, new support, new additions, new generative this and that. So I would expect they're going to do that. I would expect Canva is going to start having more of those tools. And to be honest with you, like I was looking yesterday because Canva finally released all their new 2025 AI features in my suite yesterday. And the one I was the most excited about was their actual AI resize feature, where I can create one graphic and then it can resize it for a 1:1 ratio, a 9:6 a vertical, a horizontal, and do it all automatically. I haven't quite seen that work the way I want it to yet. Things are still early stage on that. But in terms of being a commodity, here's what I think you have to consider. I go back to a Seth Godin quote, and this is a paraphrase. I can't remember exactly how he said it. But it was basically, in a world that is as noisy as this one, the easiest thing to do when it is that noisy is to ignore stuff. And so what I would prepare yourself for in the future is a world where AI either A, helps consumers filter out the noise, or B, where AI helps marketers personalize their comms so they actually connect with consumers. But if you look at it, it's almost like the same. You still need talented people who can find a way to use the tools to cut through the noise with a message that really resonates with consumers to get the job done. It's just there's going to be more marketing out there, more competition out there. And yes, it might be better, but it also might be run of the mill. And so there's still going to be a place for people to really break through. Does that make sense?
No, it makes so much sense. I'm curious, Stephen, like, as you are boots on the ground, right? Acre Brothers trying to run real estate all day long. When you are hearing Jason, talk about the AI, like what's your sense of adoption? Like, what do you then take into practicality and do? Yeah. Because that's what the audience is essentially thinking. It's like, God, how am I going to put this into action?
As we were talking, so like, as we're thinking about like SEO versus AEO, right? Is there enough information out there for us to know how to optimize like the, AI on that side to go, if someone types me into ChatGPT, can I populate for a local service right through that? Is there any information there? That's what's going through my head right now.
So that's a great question. I'd love to answer it. The answer is yes and no. So you think about traditional SEO, there are lots of third-party tools like Ahrefs, Moz, where their entire business is they have access to track what are people searching for on Google. Now, Google has that data too through their keyword planner, through Google Trends, but we have empirical knowledge of what are people actually searching for and how much of it are they searching for on Google. So that as marketers, we could say, oh, those are the keywords and phrases to target after, to make content around, etc. There are no such tools in AI. ChatGPT, Grok, Perplexity, none of them have released to the public what are people actually typing into those machines. And you can ask ChatGPT, do you know what other users are typing in? No. There are firewalls between all that data. We don't know that information. Notwithstanding, we do have the ability to see how they prioritize and how they rank and how they generate content. So yesterday in the training with my AI Marketing Academy students, we went through a 5-step process. 5 recommendations to get ready for AEO, answer engine optimization. The first was, you will qualitatively put yourself in the position of being a seller. And you will ask various questions that you believe a seller might ask on ChatGPT. We focused on ChatGPT because ChatGPT has significantly more usage than any other large language model. So the probability of AI search happening on Grok or Perplexity compared to ChatGPT is slimmer. So I'm focusing on ChatGPT. And what you're going to simply do is pay attention to what sources does it consistently cite? Oh, it keeps citing Fast Expert. It keeps citing Redfin. It keeps citing that person's website. And so from that point, you can begin to ask it questions. Hey, why did you cite these sources in all these searches? And it will flat out tell you what it saw, what it grabbed. You can have a dialogue with it. Hey, I noticed you cited this agent's website. What about it made you do that? And it's like we were doing it yesterday. Actually, I didn't, it said. I found them on Yelp and I saw the link to their website, so I followed it, but their website alone wasn't what caused me to do it. And it will start to tell you its playbook for how it's grabbing at different websites.
That is amazing.
And so then you go deeper and say, okay, I want to compete for this kind of a question. And one thing to be aware of, like a large language model is different than ChatGPT. If I search on Google, I'm sorry, I said that backwards. A large language model is different than Google. If I search on Google, how to sell my home versus how to sell my house, this is a silly example, but there could be different sources of content better optimized for house versus home. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now, yes, Google has what's called sentiment analysis, and Google has natural language processing, and it knows that house and home are synonyms, but it's a little bit more rigid than a large language model. A large language model, like one seller might search, how do I sell my house for the most money in the shortest amount of time with the best realtor and blah, blah, blah. And then another person might type a different question that's the same essence or same idea. And a platform like ChatGPT is going to be very easily able to understand they're asking the same question. So what I'm trying to communicate is we don't have to get overly dogmatic about which keywords they used. It's more about what is the idea they're searching for? What is the concept they're after? Because the AI will wash all that out in its own inferred understanding. So we do these searches. We pay attention to what sites get sources get cited over and over and over again. And then we start asking questions. And then we say, audit my website, audit my presence. Where am I lacking compared to these other agents? And make me a blueprint of what I can do to optimize. And then we just follow the instructions. And so, the know that we don't have the third-party data, it's true, but I don't know that I really need the third-party data because I have the AI to tell me what to do to be its favorite. And so I simply follow its steps and logic and make those adjustments. And then the last part of what we talked about yesterday is a little bit more of an involved strategy. We do go to third-party platforms like Answer the Public, and we figure out what are all the related searches on Google or YouTube or Bing or whatever. If it's related to sell your house, we take a broad concept, we download the thousands of related searches to a spreadsheet, and then we just load the spreadsheet into ChatGPT. And then I gave them a prompt. It's a 2-part prompt. It was rather elaborate, but the first prompt would dig through all that data and it would look for what are the most detailed, granular questions that a seller in your local marketplace might be asking. And then create 50 blog titles that are locally optimized for your business based upon those topics, because here's what we want to go after. You might have seen in Google, they're using their AI overview right now. And so the game here is, how do we get you cited as the source of the AI overview? Because that's the new front page of Google now and going forward. And so what we do is we anticipate that we know there's data that says Google's AI overview is most commonly shown for more detailed questions. That's a really big point, more detailed questions. So what we're going to start to see is sellers are going to not just ask, how do I sell my house? They're going to say, how do I sell my house as is, blah, 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 blah. They're going to get really detailed in their fine point questions. And so what we're teaching our students to do is have AI comb through those super granular questions, identify them, create blog titles that are locally optimized for your market for them. And then the second prompt comes in and it writes an 1,800 word, researched, well-documented, amazingly optimized blog post for them. And so for like literally 2 or 3 minutes a day, they're dropping a ridiculously long form blog that tackles some super laser focused question that only a high intent seller would ever ask. And they're doing is putting their name in my prompts and then copy paste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, it's true on Google. Like, I have not clicked a Google link in probably the last 3. The links that I click are from the AI overview.
Cited sources.
Oh, where did they get that?
Yeah.
Where did they get that bullet point from? And then
and think about this. A lot of my initial reaction was nobody's going to ever click those sources. They're going to just get the answer and go on.
Yeah.
That's not what's happening.
Yeah.
What's happening is I'm thinking, oh, they must be the authority because AI said that now they're being deputized by AI. And so I place greater confidence in them, and then I click them. And so like one of our great members of AI Marketing Academy, his name is Ray Ellen. He's been doing that blogging strategy since last quarter that we talked about. He's organically generating 3 to 5 leads a week on his website for blogs that maybe 11 people read because they're so freaking granular. Nobody's going to read them. Yeah. But of the 11 who read them, it's massively high intent sellers who need their question answered in that moment.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's amazing. Jason, where can people go to sign up for your academy again?
AImarketingacademy.ai.
Okay.
It's AImarketingacademy.ai. That redirects to the actual page is academy.jasonpantana.com.
We got to ask you one more question.
Yeah, bring it on.
I mean, so you half off, right? You said
half off, Web 50, and there's a little promo code. Type in Web 50 and then hit apply. If you don't hit apply, it does not take half off. So hit apply.
Okay. Yeah, so that's sick. Thank you for that. Robots. I just want to like, are you into like AI hitting robotics?
We've hit a new level.
Like, yeah, exactly. Because like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the Helix video and you've seen the different, you know, I watched one the other day of a TED talk of your AI robotic butler. And it was, you know, it was pretty good. It was like, you could say it, you can see it's like the first cell phones. It's like really clunky and like not very smooth, but you go, oh, this is 100% where it's headed. Do you have any insight into the future of robotics and AI? Or you
I don't know that I would call it insight.
Yeah.
So I'll be candid. Like most of my focus around AI has been on how can you actually use it now today for marketing purposes,
which is actually beneficial. So thank you for that. But I'm just curious of world destruction.
I do pay attention to the robotics, and I mostly watch it as a spectator. At this point in time, I have seen some interesting clips and videos where, you know, I think factories and I think certain repetitive workflows, there could be an application for, I do think robots are going to enter into our world. I do. I don't know what level of disruption that causes.
I'm telling you, man, it's like the more like we are today at Reminder Media, we use it. We do a lot of writing, right? Because we have the magazine and you know, stuff like that. So we're using it for blogs. I just wrote a blog yesterday with AI.
We are actually robots.
Yeah, we are actually robots. Exactly. We're using it for coding. We're using it for our chat bots. And we're trying to figure it out for voice. It's still not quite good enough for customer service for voice. And so we've been talking to Salesforce about Agent Force and what.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about Agent Force.
Yeah. But I see it as like the progression. You go, oh man, when it hits robotics, like I can see it doing so many of the tasks today. It's kind of like the self-checkout at Walmart, right? It's a similar human adoption will slow it down. But other than that, I think it's just a clear pathway to, you know, robotics, maybe not in the home at first. I think I've gotten to know this guy who does robotics basically, and he mimics like animals and they use them in the government and stuff like that. So kind of like Boston Dynamics does as a competitor company to that. But he was saying in the home, the safety is the problem. It's extremely difficult to create a robot that is safe in all criteria of the home, not falling, not tripping on something, not like all that stuff, which is interesting versus like the factories. It's just, you know, that one task they're doing over and over again, or that 3 tasks they're doing over and over again. So it's like, to me, I see it so clear that, I mean, will we have robot agents? I don't know. Maybe we will. We'll be, my robot will sell to a robot agent. That's what the future looks like, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here on Stay Paid. No,
I'll be door knocking with my robot protector, whatever. I don't know. I think that it would be easy to talk about robotics if you're listening to this and think, now I'm scared about about my future. And I think a lot of agents find themselves in this existential question of, will I have a job one day? And certainly there's like headlines this week have been talking about, I know Bill Gates made some comments.
Yeah.
And so all the headlines this week, I don't know when you're watching this, but this week, all the headlines have been about AI might take your job or robots might take your job. And I don't think that's very productive thinking. I do believe you should be future minded in terms of where the possibilities are, but I think it is so much healthier to focus on solving the problem of your customers and trying to be the most optimized, efficient solution to solving their problem. And I was on a podcast the other day and I was asked the question, do I think that AI will replace agents? And my answer was no. No, I don't. And here's the basis of my logic for saying that. I got into real estate in 2010. I have been hearing about the displacement and replacement of agents and seeing numerous attempts since I started in this business, and every single one of them has absolutely, abysmally, massively failed. It is clear that from the consumer's vantage point, the real estate agent is the most optimal solution to helping them buy and sell real estate and making an informed choice. And so a lot of agents will put their head in the sand and not leverage the technology, feeling threatened by it, to which I would say, like, hey, that's the worst decision. Because it's not the technology that is the biggest threat. It's your competition using that technology to scale themselves and leaving you in the dust. That's the biggest threat.
Yeah.
So I think AI is going to come along and retrofit it. Like you're already doing in your business. You're retrofitting your business with AI. And that's what we're doing in AI Marketing Academy. We're retrofitting your business. Just every single month, it's, hey, so January, it was the Claude artifacts for generating reports for sellers. February, we talked about how do I do eye contact correction so I can read teleprompter scripts on videos and then fix my eyes after the fact so I can make a lot more social media videos. And then March, we talked about podcasting through generative AI, using tools like 11 Labs and Notebook LM. And then this past month, we've been talking about the answer engine optimization. The better, more productive thought here is, how do I just chip away at the block of old and replace it with new to retrofit my business to be lean, mean, efficient, and scaling with AI?
Yeah, so awesome. Well said.
Jason, thank you so much for coming on, sharing all of your knowledge and expertise there on this new exciting technology. Make sure to get Jason's course, AIMarketingAcademy.ai. Use that code WEB50 for 50% off. Follow Jason, jasonpantana.com, and Instagram is at jasonpantana. Thank you so much for this episode of, I forgot to plug our own stuff. Hold on a second. If you like this, I'm so excited. I'm like ready to go.
You can plug mine again.
I'm going to sign up for all 50 sites that were mentioned on this episode today. Yeah. Hey, every single episode of Stay Paid has the show notes generated by AI. So
there you
spoiler alert. So AI is going to collect all of those links and it's going to put it into one nice set of show notes.
And AI is going to help us get the social media clips too. So there you go.
You can check all that out over at staypaidpodcast.com. And of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Reminder Media. If you like this episode, all we ask is for you to share this with somebody that you know, someone that you think this episode and this bank of knowledge can help out in their business as well. You can email Luke or I at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can follow us on social media. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. Jason, thank you so much, man. It is always a pleasure. You truly are a thought leader, man. Can't wait to have you back on the show again. Everybody go sign up for his course. Seriously, take that and take action on it. But here's my action item for you. Go, whether it's ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever your chat of choice is, go and ask it to audit you in your social and web presence.
Yes.
That is an easy thing you can do today. Go have it audit you and tell you what it thinks you can improve. And it just will get you using it. I talked to someone the other day, is a high level executive. I'm not going to say their name to embarrass them, but runs a massive organization in this country. And they had not used ChatGPT at all yet. And I was like, oh, your mission is you must go use it. So there are people listening to this right now that you have not written one chat. You have not tried to prompt any of these AIs. You got to start using it. Go do that as your first prompt to the ChatGPT or whatever your choice is. Remember the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every business is top producers take action. Take action on that today.